hidden secrets. The sound of laughter echoed through the halls of our apartment building, a stark contrast to the heaviness in my heart. As I entered our shared space, I was met with the comforting warmth of home, but beneath that comfort, a tension had begun to fester. My wife, Julia, a striking blonde with a radiant smile, had always been the light of my life. But lately, an unsettling distance had crept into our marriage, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It all started a few weeks ago. Julia had begun to spend more time away from home, claiming she was working on a project for her art class. I admired her passion for painting, but the late nights and secretive phone calls made me uneasy. I wanted to trust her, but the doubt gnawed at me, feeding my insecurities. One evening, after returning home from work, I found the apartment empty. The silence was palpable, and I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me. I picked up my phone to call Julia, but before I could, I noticed a light flickering in the basement. Curiosity piqued, I decided to investigate. As I descended the creaky stairs, the familiar smell of dampness and dust filled the air. The basement was dimly lit, and I could hear muffled voices coming from around the corner. My heart raced as I approached, unsure of what I might find. Peering around the corner, I felt my world shatter. There, in the shadows, was Julia, her laughter ringing out like a siren call. She was sitting on a crate with a stranger, a man I had never seen before. Their bodies were close, and the way he leaned in made it clear that their connection was more than just friendly. Panic surged through me as I watched. My heart pounded in my chest, and I felt my breath quicken. I wanted to confront them, to demand answers, but I was frozen in place, the sight before me paralyzing. "Come on, Julia," the man said, his voice smooth and enticing. "Just one more picture. It'll be fun." I squinted, trying to make sense of what was happening. She smiled at him, and for a moment, the world faded away. I could hardly believe my eyes. My beautiful wife, the woman I trusted, was in a situation that felt like a nightmare. "Okay, just one more," she replied, her voice light and carefree. I felt my stomach twist at her words, and I suddenly realized they weren't just taking pictures. They were engaged in something deeper. Unable to watch any longer, I stepped forward, my heart racing with anger and betrayal. "Julia!" I shouted, my voice echoing off the walls. She looked up, shock etched on her face, as the stranger turned to me, a smirk creeping onto his lips. "Looks like we've been caught," he said casually, as if he had no idea the devastation he was causing. "Get away from her!" I yelled, the rage boiling over. "What are you doing down here?" "Easy, man," the stranger replied, raising his hands in mock surrender. "We were just having some fun." "Fun?" I spat, turning to Julia, whose eyes were wide with confusion and fear. "Is this what you call fun? What the hell is going on?" "John, please let me explain," she cried, her voice trembling as she stood up. "It's not what it looks like." "Then what is it?" I demanded, my voice thick with disbelief. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been unfaithful." The tension in the air crackled as she opened her mouth to respond, but I could see the panic in her eyes. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I thought it was harmless," she stammered, her hands shaking. "Harmless?" I echoed, my anger bubbling over. "You're down here with a stranger, laughing and taking pictures like it's some kind of game." "John, please," she begged, tears beginning to flow. I was feeling lost. I didn't know how to reach out to you. I thought maybe I could find myself again through this, through something new. The stranger chuckled, leaning back against the wall. "Sounds like you've got some serious issues, sweetheart." "Shut up!" I snapped at him, feeling a surge of protectiveness for Julia despite everything. "This is between us. Maybe you should take a look at your marriage, John," he sneered. "Your wife was looking for something you weren't providing." "Enough!" I shouted, feeling my heart race. "This isn't about you. Julia, I need to know why you didn't come to me. Why did you feel the need to seek validation from someone else?" "I thought I could handle it on my own," she said, her voice breaking. "I wanted to feel alive again, and I didn't realize how wrong I was until I was already here. I never wanted to hurt you." As the reality of her words washed over me, I felt a mix of sadness and anger. "You've shattered my trust," I said, my voice heavy. "I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." "I'm so sorry," she cried, stepping closer, her tears flowing freely now. "I didn't think it would lead to this. I wanted to feel wanted, but I realized now that I was foolish." The stranger stepped forward, clearly amused by the chaos unfolding. "Well, I think it's time for me to go. You two can work out your issues." He smirked at us before slipping past me and heading up the stairs. As the door closed behind him, I turned back to Julia, my heart aching. "What do we do now?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice choked with emotion. "But I want to fix this. I want to be honest and transparent. I love you, and I never wanted to hurt you." The weight of her words hit me hard, but the betrayal still lingered in the air. "How can I trust you again?" I asked, feeling the tears welling up in my eyes. "I'll do whatever it takes," she said earnestly. "I'll go to therapy, I'll be open about my feelings, and I'll show you that I'm committed to our marriage. I made a terrible mistake, but I want to work through it." As I looked into her eyes, I could see her sincerity, but I also felt the ache of betrayal still fresh in my heart. It would take time to heal, to rebuild what had been shattered. "Okay," I said slowly, my heart heavy. "But this won't be easy. Trust has to be earned back, and we both have a long way to go." "I know," she replied, her voice trembling with determination. "But I'm ready to face whatever it takes to make things right." Together, we left the basement, stepping into the dim light of the hallway. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges and hard conversations. But as we walked side by side, I felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps, in facing this darkness together, we could find a way back to the light. The journey of healing had begun, and while the road would be long, I was willing to fight for our love, one step at a time. As the days turned into weeks, Anna and I began to navigate the tumultuous waters of our relationship with renewed resolve. We committed ourselves to the healing process, attending therapy sessions regularly and communicating openly about our feelings and fears. Each session was a challenge, often filled with raw emotions and difficult conversations. We faced the realities of betrayal, unpacking the hurt and confusion that had come between us. But with each discussion, I could see Anna's determination to rebuild our trust. She was committed to being transparent and honest, and I appreciated her efforts. Anna took the initiative to explore her own insecurities, attending workshops that focused on self-esteem and personal growth. I supported her through it all, encouraging her to find her passions outside of our marriage. I wanted her to feel whole and fulfilled, not just as my wife, but as her own person. One evening, as we sat together on the couch, I could see the light returning to her eyes. She looked more vibrant, and I could sense the spark we had once shared slowly rekindling. "I've been thinking," she said, her voice steady. "I want us to take a trip together, just the two of us, to reconnect in a way we haven't been able to since, well, everything." "That sounds great," I replied, feeling a rush of excitement. "Where do you want to go?" "I was thinking maybe we could revisit some of our favorite spots from earlier in our relationship. It might help us remember why we fell in love in the first place," she suggested, a hopeful smile on her face. A few weeks later, we packed our bags and headed out for a weekend getaway to a quaint cabin in the mountains. The fresh air and breathtaking scenery wrapped around us, offering a sense of renewal. As we settled in, I felt the tension of the past begin to lift, replaced by the warmth of our shared memories. Over the weekend, we hiked through lush trails, shared meals by the fireplace, and spent hours talking late into the night. Each moment felt precious, and as we reminisced about our journey together, the connection between us deepened. On the last night of our trip, as we sat outside under a canopy of stars, I turned to Anna, taking her hands in mine. "Thank you for fighting for us," I said softly. "I know it hasn't been easy, but I see how hard you're trying." "I'll always fight for us," she replied, her eyes glistening with sincerity. "I love you, and I've learned so much through this process. I don't want to lose you again." "I love you too," I said, feeling the warmth of her love wash over me. In that moment, I realized that while the scars of betrayal would always be a part of our story, they didn't have to define us. As we leaned in closer, sharing a tender kiss beneath the stars, I knew we had taken significant steps toward healing. We had faced the darkness together and emerged stronger, more committed than ever to our love and our future. Returning home, we continued to nurture our relationship, building on the foundation we had worked hard to establish. While there were still challenges ahead, we approached them as a united front, ready to embrace whatever life had in store for us. And as the days turned into months, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey we had undertaken. We were no longer just two individuals. We had become a team, bound by a love that had weathered the storms of doubt and betrayal. Together, we were ready to face the world, stronger than ever.